one of those things of, oh, now this is another problem that's added to me because I feel like I'm the reason that they're feeling the way that they're feeling.
Exactly.
And that's, with somebody that's dealing with PTSD already, that's a weight.
It is. It's confusing, you know, and a lot of it gets confusing because PTSD just jumbles up our nervous system.
Oh, yeah.
It just, everything about it. And you're really kind of relearning how to see the world almost. And yeah, that is, and that's part of the PTSD too, you know, like we were talking about is just that being comfortable, you know, having that chance even to just be like, man, I already rolled out of bed, took a shower, like I had a little snack even. I don't want to put my jeans and my nice shirt on, like
I've done a lot already.
Exactly. And that's okay. You know, it's okay to do that. Like even high functioning people, you know, you are busy, I'm busy. But sometimes it's okay just to like relax and show up and just be like, hey, we're just talking, so let's not even worry about that part.
And hey y'all, welcome back to Community Spotlight. I'm Paramedic Ron with WAME Radio, and today we are going to be, and I know we've talked about this a little bit before because we had Keith Bills on, which, Derek, you work with Keith Bills off and on. You've worked with some of his stuff that he's done.
Yes, yep.
But we have Derek, and now pronounce your last name for me.
DeVos.
DeVos, okay, because I was going to say DeVos, and I had a feeling I was going to be wrong, but I wanted to make sure.
Yep.
So Derek DeVos is with the PTSD. And tell us a little bit about first off, tell us a little bit about your background, and then we'll get into talking about how the PTSD came about.
Perfect. Yeah. So, Derek DeVos, and I am retired Air Force. Awesome. I served about 16 years or so.
Thank you for your service.
Yes,
I
absolutely. Appreciate that. And what ended up actually kind of getting me to that medically retired stage was PTSD.
Okay.
There was some chronic pain issues too, which, you know, is kind of one of those things people don't think about, but it really amplifies mental health because it just is there all the time. So it's another thing you have to deal with, which we've talked about. But yeah, when I was kind of on my way out, I was in treatment basically for about the last year or so, like between inpatient and then like outpatient where I'd go somewhere every day.
Okay. Now you were in for PTSD
yes.
treatment. Okay.
Yep. Yeah. This would be for the PTSD treatment. And then at that time, I also had the substance use, which would be alcohol.
Okay.
Which affects a large majority of service members that have PTSD, unfortunately. But that's something that I've worked through, you know, still in the recovery. But mainly what I noticed while I was there were gaps.
Okay.
They weren't huge things. They were just smaller gaps and obstacles, you know, that I think when you slow down and you look at it, you go, okay, I understand that. But when everything's so fast paced and everybody's just kind of got their routine, you just skip over it.
Right. And it's easy to miss certain things, especially things that don't seem heavy or large to the provider that's given the treatment.
Exactly, because, you know, they kind of have their own goals at the end, and they may be a little bit different from what yours are at that time.
And then most people that are dealing with PTSD, they're thinking, okay, well, let me go do this and get it done and get it over with.
Yes.
So at the time of the treatment, they're not going to really notice it either.
Exactly. Yep. It's those little things like that, and it started to pile up with me even, you know, and I noticed those little things. So what I did was I kept a lot of the handouts and a lot of like the information that I got while I was in those groups and like the therapist led ones because there's a lot of clinical jargon in there. And if you're in therapy enough and you do this, everybody knows like the modalities and this and that, right? Normal people, we don't want to hear that either, you know, even me that know that. So what I did was like I looked at all of these things, all this information. It all relates to us, but we got to translate it. And that's kind of where that disconnect is.
Because a lot of it may be some medical terms that most people that are not medical aren't going to understand.
Exactly. You know, like if we're just talking to the general public, like I want to go talk to a business and, you know, they don't need to know what CBT is. You know, they just need to know that cognitive behavior, which is just how we act and react, can be based off of trauma.
Right.
So the trauma informed is what I try to do, and that's all that is. Honestly, is just accepting and just realizing, noticing that people have trauma.
Yeah. And the people that you work with, there's a lot of trauma. I mean,
Yes.
there's because they come back from military assignments, whatever it may be. And you don't just work with military, right?
Correct. Yep. I do actually do the first responders as well. And along with the law enforcement, EMS, we can go down the line with that, just
Right.
dispatchers. But they're caregivers. They're caregivers and family.
And we were talking off air a little bit ago, and that's one of those things that you don't think about the family members going through. And it's not that they've seen the things that the people have seen,
Right.
but it's the after effects.
Exactly.
Is that kind of what y'all deal with?
Yes, that is really it. It's exactly, they didn't see that trauma, but they see that trauma through their loved one.
Right.
And the effects of PTSD, they see that anger, they see that frustration, they see the confusion, the memory loss, concentration. So they absorb that.
The anger issues.
Yeah, see, and that's a big one with
Yeah.
PTSD, because we're always just on that scale of irritable. Because there's something that day, that like gets you the wrong way.
What pin is going to drop that's going to be the firing mechanism?
Exactly it is, and it's a crapshoot with that, but that's the thing is we learn to recognize that. Well, they do too, because they're absorbing that.
Right.
But they also have their own issues, being a service member's wife, spouse, husband, it's a big thing, and a lot of people kind of poke fun at it, and we do in the service too. But it's real. Like, they travel with us, you know, they move with us, they see the stuff. So all of that just builds up, and then once they feel like they have a release, because they're not active duty anymore. But that's when it all settles for the veteran.
Yes.
And it just is a whole different flow of emotions and thoughts and everything.
Well, and it's also with the family members, it's one of those things that they're wondering, especially if they're deployed, if they're going to come home.
Exactly.
Not just when, but if they're going to come home.
Yes.
So you never know. Hey, they're constantly on edge, thinking every time they hear something about any kind of a shooting or any kind of a bombing that may happen in that area where they know that their loved one is at.
Yep.
They're like, well, is this going to be the day?
Exactly. That's it. And I've seen it with my wife, even just doing like the Zoom or the Skype calls, I guess it was back then. And, there was instances where we would have blackouts, and that was a common blackout where something happened and it was out for an hour, up to a day.
Yeah.
And it was conversation, and she's like, what the heck is going on?
Yeah. You don't know.
No.
And you don't get that verification from them until everything comes back on.
Yep.
So I didn't even think about this before we were talking, but my brother had something similar. I've got two brothers in the military that both of them were Army.
Yep.
And I remember they were talking. My mom was talking to him whenever he was over there, and all of a sudden everything stopped.
Yeah.
And she was like, "Well, I guess he lost signal." And I'm sitting there thinking, "Yeah, he did. Don't know what happened, but
that
hopefully we find out soon enough."
Yep. And that's the thing, is it automatically, human nature, it's negative. It goes to worst case, catastrophizing everything.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? And it is. And then that builds up, during that service years too with them, and they get that kind of hard shell too. But once they get out, there's that emptiness for them as well. So it's a really confusing and uncharted kind of territory, because like you said, even they're in the shadows. A lot of people recognize it, but they don't really understand it, I don't think.
Well, and I don't think a lot of them, I think they realize that something's wrong, but I don't think that they realize, and they don't talk about it enough
Yeah.
to where they think, oh, well, this is what it could be.
Exactly.
This is a form of PTSD. This is what I need to go talk to somebody.
Yes. Yes, and I'm glad like you brought that up as well, is there is actually a form of PTSD called vicarious PTSD. And you've probably heard of that being EMS, you know.
Oh, yeah.
It was kind of new to me, to be honest. Like, I hadn't heard a lot about it. And then I started kind of getting weird feelings and stuff just from the groups and talking to some suicidal and, you know, individuals that I was dealing with. And I was like, wow, this is kind of affecting me. And my brain just was like, wow, that's what my wife goes through. Like, that's what the caregivers go through.
Oh, I didn't think about that.
You know what I mean? Like, it's just, it intensified it for me, because it's like, first off, it's because of me. So then I get that, you know, but that's how they feel. And
Yeah.
that's an intense feeling.
Well, and like you just said, it's because I feel like I'm the reason that they're feeling the way that they're feeling.
Exactly.
And that's, with somebody that's dealing with PTSD already, that's a weight.
It is. It's confusing, you know, and a lot of it gets confusing because PTSD just jumbles up our nervous system.
Oh, yeah.
It just, everything about it. And you're really kind of relearning how to see the world almost.
Almost how to function.
Yeah, even that
within a regular, every day-to-day society.
It is, because, you know, honestly, on bad days, they're bad days where, you know, even me, I'm pretty well regulated and I know a lot of stuff, but I can't. There's just sometimes like it just hits like a brick wall, you know, and I'm done. And that's okay too.
And it is. It's okay to feel like that.
Yeah.
You don't have to put on a facade just because you feel like you need to go do something.
Exactly.
And I, not that that's what you're doing. And this is kind of a bad segue, so forgive me for this. But we were talking about whenever you came in, because I had on and I brought it specifically for today, just because I was like, I don't know what I should wear, so I'm just going to bring a shirt with a collar on it. Well, you can see I'm not in a shirt with a collar on it. I'm in my WAME t-shirt, because Derek came in and he was like, yeah, I was traveling today and this is how I felt like dressing. So, and I was like, hey, that's perfect. We're casual anyway.
Yep. See, and yeah, that is, and that's part of the PTSD too, you know, like we were talking about is just that being comfortable, you know, having that chance even to just be like, man, I already rolled out of bed, took a shower, like I had a little snack even. I don't want to put my jeans and my nice shirt on. Like,
I've done a lot already.
Exactly. And that's okay. You know, it's okay to do that. Like even high functioning people, you know, you are busy, I'm busy, but sometimes it's okay just to like relax and show up and just be like, hey, we're just talking, so let's not even worry about that part.
And that's the good thing. I mean, the podcast that we're doing, the whole purpose of the Community Spotlight is to get people from the community that are doing good things for the community. And whenever I heard about what you're doing, I was like, I've got to have you on. I mean, because we met at the Drug and Alcohol Coalition's event a couple of weeks, or it's been a couple of months ago now.
Yeah.
And that's how we come in contact with each other, because Wahali was actually standing there with you.
Yep. And he's been on here before, hasn't he, for Veterans
for the Veterans Treatment Court. So if you haven't seen that podcast, go back and watch it. It's good.
It is, you know, and I really like Wahali. I'm a mentor as well. And I've been kind of off to the side a little bit, you know, I don't want to, they're doing some really good things right now. Recently, Congressman Pat Harrigan came down and talked with Wahali Sauce. So, yeah, they're doing awesome things, though. And I love being a part of that Justice Involved, because, once again, honestly, that's another forgotten kind of population.
Yeah.
And
so it sounds like you guys help with a lot of different aspects.
We do.
So not just sitting there and talking to veterans that have PTSD, but you're involved in the Veterans Treatment Court. You're involved with other things with family members.
Yes.
You're involved with first responders. So that's awesome.
Yeah, it really is the whole kind of, you know, spectrum, really. And I do that intentionally. It's because, you know, that veteran, don't leave a veteran behind, or don't leave anybody behind, you know. And that's kind of instilled in us. Like, it doesn't matter what service. It's like, you don't leave another brother or sister behind. Yeah. Right. And it's the same concept, you know. And really it just comes down to like being human again with each other, I think.
Right.
And even people that are justice involved, like we've done things before that we probably could have gotten pulled over, and we just didn't get in that.
You just didn't get
trouble.
caught.
Exactly. And it is, and guess what? They messed up, but they're
Right.
doing their time. They're doing what they need to for the community, especially the VTC, the Veteran Treatment Court. That's like an optional thing that they can do. So like they're in that program,
And it's pretty detailed.
it is honestly like it is like not what people would think. Like it's just
No.
kind of a easy ride. Oh no, you are working like, and it's good.
And well, Holly was telling me that, and I know this is talking about something completely different, but it's in the same categories. But well, Holly was telling me that some veterans choose to just do their 30 days in jail versus doing this 14-month program. I think it is.
Yeah, it's it is a long one. It's pretty much over the I think it is 14 months.
So, but they're like, no, that's too tough. I want to
just do their thing, and that's
Yeah.
fine too. That's fine too. Like I say,
Right.
it's where you're at, and that's another kind of tenet that we stay by is we are getting away from that whole where we think that they should be. Let's meet them where they're at, and
Right.
they're just not ready, because being somebody that's recovering from alcohol, if you're not ready to say I'm done with that, you're not going to be done with it.
no.
You
And
know?
it's gonna be there. It's gonna come back to you.
Exactly.
And unless you're ready, it's gonna be there.
Yep.
So,
Exactly.
now you were telling, because, and speaking about meeting people where they're at, you were talking to me a little while ago off air about something new that you're fixing to start.
Yes. Yeah, I'm actually really excited about this because I've been pondering for a while. I've been getting a lot of feedback virtually. And we have the Path, which is the meeting that we have Wednesdays from 6 to 7 p.m. at the Hub.
Yeah.
Which is actually a cool space too. I can get into that later. But what I wanted to do also is be able to offer it virtually and also keep kind of that anonymous factor to it, because really what the PTSD now has evolved to is making the environment feel safe, making them able to cross a threshold that maybe they weren't 100% sure, but they were kind of teetering.
Right.
Well, they lean to the PTSD instead of maybe going back to the car, into the parking lot, and like, maybe not today.
Right.
So what I've tried to do with that is take all of that out. And the easiest way I've found so far, and if you have any other suggestions, seriously, please let me know. But Discord.
So you're going to have to explain to me a little bit about what Discord is. I've heard, so I've got a foster son that uses it for, he gets game tags or something off of it.
Yep, it is like that. And I'm a beginner as well with it. And it is used as kind of that gaming platform where they can go in there and they can talk and they can, share whatever it is, game secrets and stuff. What I saw about it is it's just a blank server and it has channels.
Okay.
So what I did was called that server the day room. Well, I called it that because I had the day room here physically.
Right. And in the day room here physically, people come in and talk, right?
Exactly.
Okay.
Yep. So what I wanted to do was kind of match that energy, match that same vibe of with the Path, it's not facilitated. It's I am there. Yes, I have gone through the NAMI facilitator training, so I can do that. But that's not what this one's really about.
So it's not like you sit around and, okay, you go first.
Yes, exactly. I'm changing it up a little bit to where it's almost just like a bunch of buddies kind of come and talk.
Okay.
And it evolved from, honestly, when I was doing my training for my service dog, it was 6-8 of us combat vets that we didn't know each other.
Right.
It was awkward at first. We're like, why are we doing this, But like after a while, we just talked and had stories and had similarities and opened up and talked about stuff that we maybe haven't talked with our families about, and it's that relation, that that lived experience.
Yeah.
And that's what I wanted to pull back with all of this, is just having that belonging almost. Because you lose that when you get out. And I didn't realize how they call it, losing the tribe. It's a big thing. Like it's an identity loss almost.
Well, and so working in EMS, I've come across some veterans that it kind of surprised me, and I didn't realize this because my brothers are actually open to talking about things, which is a good thing.
It is. It is.
For the most part. And then I've run some calls with some veterans, and there was one that particularly sticks out in my mind now that we're talking about this, that he was older, and he was, I want to say, for some reason I want to say Korea.
Okay.
The Korean conflict.
Yep.
And he started talking to me in the back of the ambulance. Well, the daughter was standing, because he was kind of confused at first.
Okay.
Well, the daughter was kind of standing there at the ambulance door waiting on some information, and my partner was getting information from her. And then all of a sudden I heard he was still talking to me, but then I heard everything go quiet behind me. So I'm like, that's kind of odd. Well, while he's talking to me, he was talking about what he had seen in the conflict that he was in.
Yep.
So afterwards, whenever we were getting ready to load up, his daughter said, I've never heard that before. She said, he will not talk to us about anything that any military past. Yeah. He does not talk to us. He said, sorry. She said, sorry. It caught me off guard, and that's why everything went quiet.
Yeah.
She said, because I've never heard him talk about that before.
And
and so what you're doing is helping those people get that sense of belonging and sense of brotherhood back.
Exactly. And it's crazy. Like stories like that, it just proves, that environment. So whatever that was that you were showing him, just compassion at that point, because maybe he hasn't seen that in years. The family shows a sort of compassion, but maybe they're frustrated because, they've been dealing with it for decades.
Right.
And he should get help. He should get help. And maybe he wasn't ready, but he talked to you and something was just like, I need to let go, you know? And that's what we try to do with that. And trying to do that virtually, I think is going to change the game too.
Yeah.
I know a lot of the older generations and older veterans don't like changes with technology and stuff. And I understand that it gets to be a lot. Honestly, like when you step back, it gets to be a lot sometimes with it.
Well, we were talking about that a minute ago. With technology, can be weird.
It can, so I get it. Like there's the hesitation. So the Discord channel, like it's super basic. All you do is, I think you might have to sign up for, with your email, like the basic thing, and then pick your name. But then you can go to one of the channels in there that are just, text, or tonight or Wednesdays, I guess, when we have those, they can pop in there. So it's just their voice. There won't be their picture. They can choose to have that. And they can even choose to just mute and just to sit in that room.
And listen.
And just listen. And I bring that up also because physically, there was a time where after a while I had a hesitant veteran finally come in, and it was just us. And it was a very different experience because we actually just sat there. And it was kind of just like this, about the same distance really, and kind of just dinked around on our phones, and I would look up and, hey, how you doing? And he was processing or whatever, he was doing. He's just, I'm fine, and we did that for 30, 40 minutes probably, so a decent amount of time. And he got up and we kind of did this, thanks, whatever, left. And I haven't seen him since, but I don't take that as a negative because maybe that's what he needed at that point.
Right.
It's just a different way to look at things. I think that we get so caught up in these like industrial metrics.
You've got to talk to somebody. You've got to do this. You've got to do that.
Exactly. And everything's so structured and is just, let's just let us be and just kind of, curiosity is human nature too. Let us find that. Let us enjoy being human and connecting again.
Yeah. And like you said, he might have just needed to sit and decompress for a minute.
Exactly. And that it's soothing, and if you haven't been able to do that and you've been holding, Korean War, gosh, that was in the 50s, and it's also one that nobody really knows about.
Yeah.
I was stationed in South Korea, so I'm familiar with it, but yeah, that too, that stigma, Vietnam, they didn't want to talk about stuff then either. And it just like they carry that with them. And that's tough.
Yeah. And it's, so what it sounds like you guys do, it's it's a very open thing to where, and I'm remembering what Keith said whenever he was in here because he was talking about you guys, and it was that you're wanting those people to be able to come in, and you don't have to sit there and talk the first time that you come in there.
Exactly.
But it gets you that idea of, hey, they're there if I need to.
Yes, exactly. And the group of people that we tend to see, I don't want to say target because we don't target people, but
Right.
like, what I see, observe, is the ones that they're not ready for that formal help yet. They don't want to say, yeah, I'm going to go talk to a therapist or,
Yeah.
Even go to the VA, maybe even talk, to their PCP about that
Right.
stuff. So there is just basic, just comfort level.
Right. Well, and they may be afraid too that if they go to a therapist and start saying certain things, because we all know that certain things that are said can be reported as self-harm or harm to others.
Yep.
And if that's talked about, it's an immediate referral to, hey, this needs to be checked out. Maybe, unfortunately, maybe a 72-hour hold and all this other stuff that's against their will. And then that'll immediately, I mean, speaking from experience, that'll turn people away from doing that.
Yes.
They'll be like, I know this is what they've got to do. I'm either not going to say what I really feel, or I'm not going to go in at all.
Yep. Or you're just going to please them and just enough to get out and go back to your same stuff. Because I had a very bad experience with my first attempt as I was in, and it was that, man, they just threw me into, and I hate saying it, but it was just like a cage. They threw me into a room.
Yeah.
It had nothing in there except that bed, and it was a literal one of those roll down metal doors. Mm-hmm. I'm just I'm already in.
You're in prison.
Yeah, and I'm just boom, because you're in crisis and you're trying to figure out what's going on, and
now they've committed you into an involuntary commitment.
Yep, and that's the thing too, is that's the group that I really want to get, because instead of having to do that, instead of having to call 911, we have people that know crisis response,
Right.
You being EMS, that crisis intervention, those techniques.
Mm-hmm.
And that's so important for our community. I really want to get that into even our firefighters, because I feel like they're going to be that first response, right? If there's something going on, there's a medical emergency, if there's violence, yes, the police are going to come, and that's fine. They're there for that security.
Right.
But if we can get them to just know that and let somebody that's trained in that crisis intervention, yes, we might end up in the hospital, but maybe we won't. Maybe we will actually talk them to safe right now becomes safe for that day, where we can just let them do their thing.
Right.
And there's no police reports, besides there was maybe a medical emergency.
There's a medical call, but that's where it ends.
That's it. We don't have any, the bracelets don't come out because, and I think police are starting to understand that too, because I've talked with a few of them, and, Keith, he's there too, and I think we all agree, the police don't want to put people in jail.
Right.
They're there really to help our community.
They want to help the people that truly need help.
Yes.
And now if there is somebody that really needs to go to jail, then obviously, but
yes,
they really don't want to put somebody in jail that's having an emergency like that.
No.
So, and that is one thing that is a big stigma is, hey,
yes,
if something happens and I'm experiencing this, then if I call 911, I'm either going to jail or I'm going to be committed.
That's it.
And it sounds like the way that Keith was describing it was, hey, go hang out with him a couple of times. Mm-hmm. You don't have to do anything. You don't have to talk the first couple of times. You don't have to talk the first 5 or 6 times.
Exactly.
But at least now if you're having that emergency, who you can call and talk to.
Yes. And that's the beauty too, is as we have those resources now, like Keith, he has those law enforcement resources.
Right.
Me, I can have the warm handoff. I'm getting to know more of the therapists and psychiatrists around the area. Currently, my goal is working with NAMI Charlotte, and
what is NAMI?
So NAMI is the National Alliance on Mental Illness.
Okay.
They're actually the largest or close to the largest nonprofit that deals with mental health.
Okay.
They're large. They're in many communities. Iredell County, we actually have our own. And
Okay.
not many people know about that. And we want to kind of reinvigorate that a little bit. And the way that I want to do that is kind of start on the veteran side, because they also don't have veteran-specific stuff currently. They have programs for it. But along with that, I get to see this network that we have. It's incredible, right?
A lot more people want to help than what you think.
Yes. I am just going to say yes. And it's great. It really
Yes.
is. That's another part for me too, is I call our place is the hub, you know. It is just that. It's for helping understand benefits is what it stands for.
Okay.
But it's vast, right?
Whenever you said the hub, after we just said that about so many people, I was thinking like that's the hub where everybody can come to get their word out of what they need.
Yep, and that's exactly it. And that's where I have the day room. So that's where I have my meetings upstairs. That's where I have my hub. That's where I have the resources. I've got the computer. I've got a TV to hang out. I've got a little crisis area. I can do one-on-one type of things. You know, I'm not a therapist. I am not clinical. So I just want to throw that out.
Which is good to know. This
Yes.
is not an actual licensed therapist thing.
Yes.
This is, from the sound of it, a bunch of guys hanging out.
Exactly.
Or ladies. I mean,
Yep.
ladies can come too. It's not just guys.
100%. Yep.
So,
Anybody, you know, and exactly it is just that group. And staying with that non-clinical helps us also. We don't have to have forms. We don't have to have that intake. We don't have to call you a client or whatever
Right.
term you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It adds another stigma, and that's a huge, like, from what I've seen and personal experience, you probably know this too.
Mm-hmm.
It gets super annoying over and over writing down this symptom. This is because of whatever, and you're just like, I'm done. I don't want to do this anymore.
you don't have to put labels on it.
Exactly.
You're helping them figure things out on their own, and you don't have to put an actual label on things.
Exactly.
Which sounds awesome.
Yeah, and it is, and it's refreshing, you know, because it is, and the people even that don't say anything, you might not think it, but they kind of bring something, because you'll be able to see them focus on different conversations or part of the conversation, you know, and maybe that's the part where they're just like, I see myself in that, and they don't need to say
Yeah.
anything because it's uncomfortable, but at least they're like, oh, there's at least a couple of people that, like,
I'm not the only one.
yeah, and, you know, mental health symptoms can sometimes be awkward and uncomfortable, and, you know, you think you're the only one, you know, like, why does X, Y, and Z happen?
Right.
Well, now I'm seeing it literally. They're just talking about the same thing.
They're sitting there saying, I'm not the only one. Okay, so no, I'm not the only one that's had those thoughts. I'm not the only one that's been through this.
Yes.
Somebody else that's actually close and in my vicinity
Exactly.
has experienced this stuff.
And that lived experience. And with veterans especially, we are just kind of taught we don't talk about it. And we've never truly had a way to do the transition or redeploy, they like to say. So we deploy, and then when we come back home, we redeploy.
Right.
Well, all that is seeing the doctor, getting some blood taken, giving you some R&R, your rest and relaxation for a week or whatever that you've got up. Maybe you got some leave, but guess what? After that, you're back to the grind, and it don't matter.
Yeah.
You don't lose that mentality, you know?
And you don't lose being on edge.
No, definitely not.
It's something that stays with you.
Yes, and you probably get that too, that hyper awareness, you know, you're just hyper everything almost, it seems like at times. And that
Neurons are constantly firing.
yeah, and it's tiring, you know,
Yes.
and it's cool. Like, you can focus it. Like, that's kind of what I've learned to do with mine and this nonprofit is, instead of just like sitting in my man cave and just like watching TV or just like internally ruminating,
Letting
on
it build
stuff,
and let it eat at you.
just and then the anger thing, once it hits
Yep.
a point, are not good with that. Instead of doing that, I'm like, man, all this focus and all these things, and I can see things, and that's where the PTSD started, you know, and I'm using it for that. And along with that too is, I know there's veterans and I know there's first responders out there that have that same thing. So what I've tried to do is every other Monday we have what's called a open studio night.
Okay.
And we actually just had that a couple nights ago. And it just lets them come and be. And it's, we have, some little paint palettes so we can paint things. We're actually starting to paint rocks. And what the goal is with that is have fun things on there. It doesn't have to be like super inspirational,
Right.
generic. But we're going to place them around town eventually, Statesville, because
Cool.
we're trying to get community, really to build with us. And I want the community as we build to learn about the PTSD, like the mental health part of it, I can
Right.
talk to them about that and stuff. But yeah, the studio, you can just come and do whatever you want. I've got books, I've got journals. You can come in and write. You can come upstairs and watch TV. I've got a Switch. Bring your kids, and I do have adolescents that come and they enjoy it.
I was going to ask about that because this doesn't just affect the spouse or the, husband, wife, whatever.
Exactly.
It affects the kids too.
Yes.
So you're incorporating that too, and
Yes.
that's awesome.
Yes, and that has been a big thing too, just because I'm getting to the age where I went to one of the summits that they had in Cherokee, and it was like the VA one, and I was talking to this nursing student, so she's 20, and she's like, yeah, the reason that I'm doing this is because my dad, he's a Iraqi vet too, and he's a combat vet, and he struggled, and we lost him, and and she's like, I'm determined to do this, and it's
To help somebody else.
yeah, because she doesn't want that pain, that there's different ways, and that's what she's trying to learn. But that's like my age group, our age group,
Right.
is like that's the kids, and we kind of didn't prepare them, I don't think.
Oh, absolutely not. No.
And there's nothing we can do about it now. It is
No.
what it is. But I guess we can, which we are, is teaching the adolescents, teaching them younger. They don't need to know the graphic stuff, but they're seeing dad angry all
Right.
the time. Why is he always angry?
And they don't know why.
They don't. Maybe it's them,
Same.
and it's not, but that's what they think.
Yeah. And that builds up, that starts that whole process of, again, building up in their minds of, well, now it's my fault. What
Yes.
can I do to please him? What can I do
Yes.
to fix this? And now they're in that same cycle as what the dad was or the mom was of people pleasing and,
Yep.
constantly having that anxiety. And so
It is, and it's the environment, and that's
Yeah.
what I figured out with the PTSD, and I'll keep saying that is it goes back to that environment, and nothing's going to be perfect.
Right.
People are going to have childhood adversities. We're going to have bullies.
Yeah.
Actually, one of my adolescents, they started a bully club.
Okay.
So it is actually kind of cool where they've got a good structure. They have cameras, so they'll actually review footage of like a certain situation, and they'll see if it was just playing around or if it was actually
true bullying.
Yep, and they will document. They'll start actually documenting cases of that. So if it's the same person, well, we have something we can talk about. Not that that's a bad thing, I mean, bullying is.
Bullying
but
is, yeah.
If we can catch that and then transition it over into what's going on for real, like, are you having issues with this? Anger comes from being scared of something.
It's not about punishing the bully. It's about finding out what's going on and finding the deeper cause.
Exactly.
I like that. I don't know who you are, but good job.
Yes.
I like that.
And I don't want to call them out yet, just because it just was like, it was at the studio night that they were talking about it.
Yeah.
And I just thought it was such a cool idea. And I'm like, they were like, maybe you can come in and talk. And this is what I would say is that type of thing, like they have this club, but let's switch this from everything being so negative and we've got to punish and
Right.
whatever. Let's truly try and rehabilitate. Let's flip that lens.
Try to fix whatever the issue, the underlying cause is.
That. Because like with me, I realize that with alcohol, I don't drink anymore. I don't want to. And I couldn't care less. I've got like the non-alcoholic beers that I'll drink every once in a
Right.
while just because I like them. I was one of those IPA guys.
Yeah.
I still like it. So that, and other people drink.
But you also know that it's a problem,
exactly.
which is the issue.
That is the issue.
Same.
And if you can, I don't know, I guess if you can focus on that and make that part of your life, it truly changes. And that's one less thing that you have to really actually worry about, because it just adds more stress and junk afterwards. But once you realize you can kind of drop that, or you can feel that that's not a thing anymore, it amps you up a little bit.
Yeah.
And you're like, you know what, maybe I can tackle my, not PTSD as just like a whole, because it's such a big thing, maybe just the anxiety, or maybe
This
just
section of
sleep.
it.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly.
Sorry. And that would, I mean, you said sleep there a second ago.
Yes.
That's a big one with PTSD, because you could be sleeping perfectly okay, and then all of a sudden something in your mind just says, nope, not now.
Yep. That's it. And maybe you know this too, with like, the nightmares, night terrors.
My brother had them a lot.
Yeah, that's actually, it's embarrassing, but it's a thing, and I do it too. And it's sometimes to the point where you almost know that night before. I do, at least. I can just, I'm overtired, or I'm very stressed. Like, I just know, or I've been around just negative stuff.
You can feel it coming on.
You can feel it, and it happens, and it's, I don't want to say violent, but like it is. Like, I will get up and scream. Like, I mean, this is like full on, like, let's go war stuff, and flailing around. And luckily I haven't hurt my wife or dog or anything like that, but like it's a possibility. So I tend to change my environment and go to our guest room, or go to the other room that we have kind of for me for those nights. And that's a thing too, is, build those environments at home. And that's what I want to teach.
It's a good idea.
It's just these little things that they're awkward, and the typical married people should sleep together. Well, we do sometimes, but there's sometimes we don't, because I can't.
I'm protecting her.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So it's just an interesting way to look at things, I guess, with that model.
So when do you guys usually meet? Are you there every day? Are you there certain hours, certain days? What's the deal?
Yeah. So now we've got the path, and that meets Wednesdays from 6 to 7.
Okay.
And that will include the Discord one as well.
So you're going to do those at the same time?
Yep. I'm going to try those at the same time, just to kind of see and gauge the involvement, or if we need to do any tweaks or anything like that.
Okay.
I'm kind of using my public. I love that, because if it doesn't work for them, what's the point of having it?
Right.
You know what I mean?
Now, so whenever you're doing that, is the meeting that you're doing, and I guess it's a meeting, right? It's a hanging out type thing, but it's like a meeting.
Yep.
So the time frame that you're doing that, the conversation you're having there at the path meeting, is that the same conversation that's going out on the Discord, or is that two totally different conversations?
So they will actually keep separate. And I'm going to do that on purpose. It's kind of by design that way.
Okay.
Just so it doesn't become that hybrid, I guess you could call it, because I did think about that, but I want to see how it acts differently, because that main reason that I did the Discord one is for certain maybe vulnerable veterans, females that have certain traumas. They don't want to maybe go out at nighttime.
Okay.
There's some combat vets that traveling is a very big thing, and it's
especially at certain times.
Exactly, and rush hour and people. So what I'm trying to do with that is make it feel safe and comfortable for them. So they'll have their own little thing.
Okay.
And we'll have this, because maybe eventually, they will want to come in, or vice versa.
Yeah.
So
somebody will be monitoring that and handling that, and then you guys will be doing this over here.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
And I don't use that word facilitator really.
Right.
But, like I am, my wife is, and then actually my two main volunteers, they're getting trained up with mental health first aid here soon. So
cool.
Yeah, that's coming up, and that's going to be really good for them. That's something I think is great for the community too, is a suicide awareness. Mm-hmm. It's another topic that it sucks to talk about, but it's real.
But you need to talk about it. Yeah, unfortunately.
Yep. It's and I'd rather talk about it, dead on instead of this just kind of like, if we say it, that's going to put it in their minds, or if we say it, then it's just like it's out there. Well,
You almost feel like you're giving them the idea whenever you're not.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's already there. I hate to say it, but it is. And
If they've got those thoughts, they've got those thoughts.
Exactly.
And maybe you can be the one to help them get rid of those thoughts.
yes,
So
exactly. And it's learning, just learning how to talk. And you as EMS, I'm sure you've learned the ways to talk down a little bit, and like for me, it's keep them safe then. We
Yes.
don't need to worry about 2 hours from now. Like, let's just learn how to keep our community safe at that moment. And once that happens, and once they see that reaction from the community member, that it wasn't panic, it wasn't like we talked about the 911
Right.
to where that's going. It's holy crap, you were able
somebody
to talk.
cares about me.
Yes.
Yeah.
Just a little bit, just enough to like get you down, just back. And Statesville, that's what I'm trying to do.
I like it. I like the whole concept behind everything.
Yeah.
Whenever Wahali was, and I go back to Wahali because I've known Wahali forever.
Yeah.
But whenever he was telling me about what you guys do, I was like, I've really got to have him back on.
Yes.
Because I know you tried to come in whenever Keith was here as well, and
Yep.
we were gonna try and make it work, but that was kind of at the beginning stages of everything with us too. So,
Yeah.
but I was like, I've really got to get him on.
Yeah. And I wanted to too. And it's at that time, Keith, he actually explained that part of it
Right.
well. And I was still evolving too, which I still am now.
Oh,
but
yeah.
I've gotten a better grasp, of what I want to see or how I want to see it. And, we did the bike night at Tilly,
Oh yeah.
which
How did that go?
I'm going to be honest, it turned out really well. And I'm not just like saying that to say that. Like everybody that I talked to, this is like the vendors, the bikers, Tilly employees had such a fun time.
Good.
And the way that I'm gauging this, I want you to find 3 pictures of that event from any of the vendors, from Tilly, from people. You ain't going to find it. You want to know why? Because no one was on their phones.
Everybody was doing something. They
Yes.
were hanging out and doing things.
That, being a community again and talking. There wasn't alcohol because I'm not against that. People can drink and do what they please.
Right.
I just don't have that environment, so it feels a little safer for, people that may be struggling or are recovering,
Right.
But that proves my point with, like, if we can get the community into this, we have fun,
Yeah.
know? And the vendors had fun because they were having just normal conversations with people, and
Cool.
it was just a really cool vibe. And there is one in the works, I will
Okay.
say. So a little bit in the future, but there's definitely another one that's coming, and it's going to be a big one.
You have to let me know about it.
Yeah, absolutely.
We'll get the word out for you.
Definitely.
So another thing is there any cost to these people coming in and sitting with you guys?
Beautiful. I love that you pointed that out too. Everything is absolutely free. And I'm going to keep it that way. That is one of my things.
Good.
One of the reasons I started this, and I'm going to stick with this, is it's hyper local. I want to keep our communities involved with this. So
Right.
Scaling, yes, that's always an option, right? But I'm going to do it intentionally, responsibly, because I can move that path group anywhere, sure. But
Yeah.
let's place it where it's needed. And it's needed in a lot of spots, and I get that, and that's kind of, I guess, the point I'm trying to get to is with that is I want to build it around Statesville, so I have a community that's stabilized,
Right.
And then we can model that, and we can kind of start doing that to different ones.
Move where else you may need.
Exactly.
So on that same note, is there volunteer opportunities? Do you guys need donations of things or of monetary donations even?
Yes, I mean, absolutely for all of those. Starting with the volunteers, I love having volunteers. I really do. And we've got a few that are just kind of off and on, and then I've got a couple that are like
Regulars.
and they're passionate and they're good at it, and they bring different lenses. They bring different life experiences
Okay.
that you might not regularly get, So I would love to have more volunteers, people that are interested in working with veterans. Maybe they're not a veteran themselves, but they're the family member of. I've got one that she is. Her grandfather was in World War II.
Okay.
And unfortunately, she was alive still when he completed suicide. So she has kind of that as well. And there's a lot more of that than you would think. And I love having them come in. And when I have volunteers, we don't do it normal, like let's sign in and get all your information and this and that. It's just going to kind of be, hey, generally, like, what would you like to help with? Do you want to be on, the veteran side, or would you like help with the caregivers? Because that's another side that I'm working on. So let's say, they like to work with the caregivers. Perfect. I've got Elizabeth Dill Foundation. I'm trying to work with them heavily. They've got programs in the community here that I'm trying to gravitate more towards Statesville. Okay. So if we've got people that are interested in that, please look me up. Other volunteers, I'm always looking for inventive ideas for like grants and stuff like that.
Okay. If you're a grant writer, contacting.
Yes, absolutely. Like if you are good with grants, please get a hold of me because I've got some very fun ideas. And I like to, the community actually has some people that I know have sent me, do this one just because it's a little bit different. I love that. Because then we get all this different buy-in and different lived experiences and this, and we have a true community.
Right.
So when we have like true crisis happen, we as a community can actually come together and be like, this is a big deal, but we can handle it.
We can help. We can do this.
Exactly.
Say.
The donations, those are always huge. I actually just got one a few days ago. From the Iredell County Collaborative Committee, a lot of C's in there, ICCC we'll call it, for some more of my my signage and wayfinding.
Okay.
Just so people can find the place easily. Right. They don't have to second guess, like, is this a spot? Because I've even done this sometimes. It's like if it's your first time and you're really not invested in it, well, I missed it. I'm just going to go home, maybe go grab a snack, And
I might come back. I might not.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And it's that. We stop that. And I think that will help with that.
So on that note, where are you guys located at?
Yes. So we are located 328 East Broad Street.
Okay.
So if you are on Broad and Center and you go away from Mitchell College, we are kind of on that row. There's a bunch of the houses, the lawyer houses, I call them.
Yeah.
Lawyer Row.
Right there past where ARS, their new place used to be, Iredell Record and Landmark.
Yep.
Building.
Yes.
So you're right there in those rows of houses.
Yep, exactly. Just all the way to Elm, basically, is right on that corner of Elm and Broad.
Before you get to the next stoplight, though.
Yes, we're like right before that stop. Yep, right before that, actually. Yeah.
Okay.
So that area, it's a big white house. But yeah, the signage, it's going to come. I would love some ideas from the public also, if they have any unique ideas or you help with those. Because I know that Keith, him and his son work with the LED signs.
Yeah.
So we might be in contact soon.
And from what I've seen, they're really good at what they do.
Yeah, I've seen some pictures of them, and they're awesome.
So how do they get in contact with you?
The easiest way is probably to be email, contact@theptsd.info.
Okay.
So that's going to be the main one.
And I'm going to put that above his head here in just a second.
Love it. Look up for that. And that'll go to our main box so I can see it. Volunteers and stuff can see it. So it's the main monitored box. And then also just really show up sometimes. I'll post. Socials is a really great way to keep up with us. I'm very active on that. I'm also on LinkedIn and then now that Discord.
Okay. That
will actually be a 365, 24/7 thing. It may be moderated. It may not be. That's not a bad thing because I don't think people are in there to be nefarious. So we're just going to let them kind of do what they do. And
have conversations.
Exactly.
Yeah. So, and I found you on Facebook
Yes.
today. If you're looking at Facebook, it is the PTSD. There's a couple of ones that popped up, but his has and I'll just pull it up here and actually show you if it'll load here. That is the screen that it's going to be on. I'll zoom in so that you can see it. But that's what you'll see for the profile picture. So,
Yep.
but
That purple star, if you see a purple star, that's the PTSD. So around the community, you may start seeing some of those. I've got some other projects in the works to really, really bring the community into this, and
I like it.
It's the donation part. What I would love to do, and maybe there's some community members that would like to try this, those little buckets that, do you want to upcharge, it's $19.95.
Oh,
Do you want
yeah.
to do 5 cents to round it up or whatever?
Right.
So those little buckets, or do it digitally. We could do that for us. And then what that goes to is that goes to like our snacks, to our coffee, to our rent if we need to, but
Okay.
it just really, it keeps the hub going, and it doesn't sound like a lot of money, or doesn't sound like a lot, but honestly, those little things like that help.
5 cent here, 10 cent there, it can add up.
It does.
Yeah.
And it's the little ways to help. And even me, like I like to donate, but sometimes I just don't know where or how, or like, you know what I mean? It's just kind of weird. So like if I can put it in the public where it's easy and you don't have to feel weird about it or feel like somebody's
You're having to
judging.
search it out to do it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's just there. So
So
something like that.
that's awesome. So Derek, thank you for coming on.
Absolutely.
I really do appreciate it. I'm glad we got our schedule worked out to where we could get you on.
Definitely.
Even though it was kind of last minute.
Hey, but that's the best.
I thought I had sent you a message back, and then I got to looking and I was like, it's not there. Let me respond to this.
Oh, I do that all the time. I'm trying to set up like this Google network thing
Yeah.
my volunteers showed me, but yeah,
If you figure it out, let me know.
I will. I will show that to you. Yeah.
But thank you guys for watching, and we will see you next time. Take care. Oh, and since I'm needing to add this, if you guys know of anybody that wants to come on that is a shining light in the community, that does good things for the community, send me a message. Let me know. ron.wameradio@gmail.com. And I would definitely love to hear from you. I'm always taking ideas for the next guest that we have on. We've got several lined up, so I'm looking forward to the next month or so at least.
Good.
So thank you guys for watching. Take care.